You're such an asshole.
Good morning, children. We have today. It's my coffee makes me poop mug. It's a big mug. Look at that. That's a mug. That's a one pour coffee. You're gonna poo a lot when you just have one of these. So, ooh, still a little hot. Oh, that's good. You too can get a coffee makes me poop mug, along with everything else through my Amazon affiliate program. You go to captaincapitalism.blogspot.com and you click on the Amazon banner, and then I make money. And you happen to get a mug in the process, which I think is a win-win. I really do. All right. John writes, in between watching some of your videos with my teenage kids, we were discussing why North Korea insists on having nukes. You have no idea how good it is to hear a father talking and having intelligent conversation with their kids. That's good. I pointed out that Libya and Iraq didn't have nukes, and look what happened to Gaddafi and Hussein. And Lil Kim probably noted this as well. It occurred to me I'd love to watch a Clarey test video on the late dictators of Iraq and Libya. Let me know the cost. Thanks, John. Well, thank you, John. And thank you for taking your kids out and spending time with them. All right, so the Clarey test, if you didn't know, is a test that I came up with. And even though I'm tired and look disheveled, because I am, it's a pretty good test that I used to figure out whether or not I'd even want to entertain the idea of voting for somebody. And then it also ended up becoming a pretty good test as to the measure of caliber of someone, whether you could actually trust them, whether you want to have a beer with them. So you have 4 questions to this test. Do you come from wealth? Did you major in something stupid? Do you have any real-world working experience? Or what are you currently doing now? Although with these 2 guys, is Gaddafi dead? Did he die? I know Saddam did. But let's look up Saddam Hussein. Now, this is going to be a little bit inapplicable because, one, it's predominantly intended for Western civilization, and obviously Saddam and Gaddafi are not from there. But let's look up Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein was born in 1937, died 2006, president of Iraq from 1979 to 2003. Leading member of the revolutionary Arab Socialist Ba'ath Party. That's right, I remember reading about him. He ended up going into some foreign country and get indoctrinated with socialism and all that. But we used him because we didn't like the Iranians. Well, okay, we didn't like the Ayatollah Khomeini. This is going back to 70s history and 80s history, but I know you millennials don't like that. We used him to fight the Iranians and then also the commies, which was the bigger threat. Okay, let's go to the early life. Look at him, young man here. Saddam Hussein was born in the town of Al-Alja, 8 miles from the Iraq town of Tikrit, to a family of shepherds from the Al-Bagat clan group, a subgroup of the Al-Bu Nasir tribe. His mother named her newborn son Saddam, which in Arabic means one who confronts. He's always referred to by his personal name, which may be followed by the patronymic. He never knew his father, Hussein Abd al-Majid, who disappeared 6 months before Saddam was born. Non-Western civilization. Shortly afterwards, Saddam's 13-year-old brother died of cancer. That's horrible. The infant Saddam was sent to the family of his maternal uncle, Kairala. Can't you just cut names like Bob, Frank, Bill? Well, your last name could be Apu. Look what Apu, Napina Hasapetalan, did. He didn't make people pronounce Napina Hasapetalan. He just said, my name is Apu. Okay, good. Welcome to America, Apu. Until he was 3. His mother remarried and Saddam gained 3 half-brothers through the marriage. His stepfather treated Saddam harshly after his return. Okay, so he didn't come from wealth. He came from a real bad background. So he doesn't get a point there, so that's good. Now, does he have an education? Now, here's where did he go? He attended the Nationalistic High School in Baghdad. After secondary school, Saddam studied in Iraqi law school for 3 years, dropping out at 57 to join, at the age of 20, the revolutionary Pan-Arab Ba'ath Party, of which his uncle was a supporter during the time. Saddam apparently supported himself as a secondary school teacher. All right. So here's where we gotta kind of tailor the Clarey test a little bit. Understand the point of what did you study is to find out whether you had any intention of working a real job. And that applies very well in modern day Western civilization. But even in Western civilization, you go back 50 years ago, any degree was actually a good degree. That at one time held truth to it. So this is why I'm a little bit lenient with baby boomers, unless you're Noam Chomsky, where you obviously had no intention of working a real job. If you majored in philosophy or finance or economics, I'm not going to give you a point. Today you get a point. Because if you major in philosophy or economics or women's, you obviously have no intention of working whatsoever. So he went to school in 1957. So we can't really, any degree is a good degree. But here's another thing. Now we go to the non-Western aspect. Well, how many people go to school? That's purely a Western affair where we rape our children of $150,000 worth of tuition fees and unnecessarily force them to sit in a fucking classroom for 4 to 6 years of their life beyond the 13 we force them to in the K through 12 prison system. So what I'm going to go with is the intent of the Clarey test, not the law or the word. He dropped out and at the age of 20 joined the revolutionary. He wanted to be a crusader. And he supports himself as a teacher. And I don't like teachers anywhere. I don't like them anywhere. A revolutionary sentiment was characteristic of the era in Iraq and throughout the Middle East. In Iraq, progressives and socialists assailed traditional political elites, colonial era bureaucrats and landowners, wealthy merchants and tribal chiefs, and monarchists. Moreover, the pan-Arab nationalism of Nasser of Egypt profoundly influenced young Baathists like Saddam. Okay, so he became a crusader in 57 at the age of 20. He knew better. He knew better than all that. Although I can understand you don't want people fucking colonizing you. In 1958, a year after Saddam, Ba'ath Party army officers led by overthrew Faisal II of Iraq and the rise to power. Of the 16 members of Qasim's cabinet, 12 were Ba'ath Party members. Ba'ath, I don't know how to pronounce it. However, the party turned against Qasim due to his refusal to join the Syria's United Arab Republic to strengthen his own political position with the government. Qasim created an alliance with the Iraqi Communist Party. Good. Later that year, the Ba'ath Party leadership was planning to assassinate Qasim. Saddam was a leading member of the operation. So what year was this? 58. Okay. So what? Saddam is 21? Majority of its members were either educated professionals or students, and Saddam fit the bill. It sounds like proto-social justice warriors. The choice of Saddam was, according to the historian Con Coughlin, hardly surprising. The idea of assassinating Qasim may have been Nasser's, and there is speculation that some of those who participated in the operation received training in Damascus, which was then part of the UAR. However, no evidence is ever. Okay, when did he kill? Okay, 1959. I just want to know what happened after this. Did Saddam go and work a career, or did he just go right into politics? Some of that from reading senses Ba'athists at the time. I know it's not short, but it's often not clean cut as bread. Saddam fled to Egypt in 1959 and continued to live there until 1963. Army officers with ties to the Ba'ath Party overthrew Qasim in the coup of 1963. 66. Saddam returned to Iraq but was imprisoned in 1964 and 66. Appointed him Deputy Secretary of Regional Command. How could he be in prison and be appointed? He escaped from prison in 67. I almost want to give him credit, like that's real work. I almost want to give him credit for that. Elected for Regional Command. 68. Participated in a bloodless coup. Political program. Vice Chairman of the Revolutionary Command Council. Okay, so he became military. I'm going to give him, because he came from a bad family, not bad family, just unfortunate circumstances. He was in prison. He had to support himself somehow. Doesn't sound like he had a benefactor or financier. He had to have worked a little bit, so he does have. So he didn't come from money. He majored, quote, in stupid shit. Does have some military experience. So he's And then what has he been doing? He was a dictator the entire time after. So you get a point for that. So major stupid shit, quote unquote. Never left the public sector. Does have private sector experience. Does have real world experience. And didn't come from wealth. So he gets a 2. Should he run for office? No. Obviously. And would I like to have a beer with him? Kinda. I don't know if I necessarily respect the guy, but I kind of be like, okay, that's an interesting story. That beats my little pampered little ass out in the suburbs of America. Tell me this, I'd be kind of curious. I don't know if I trust him behind my back. But no, he shouldn't run for office. And would I like to have a beer with? Yeah, why not? Who wouldn't want to have a beer with a dictator? What the hell? I'm curious. Sure, tell me why. Explain to me why. So we got that there. All right, now Muammar Gaddafi. Let's look him up. How does one spell Muammar? Muammar. Q8. Muammar Gaddafi. Okay, he is dead. Muammar Gaddafi. Muammar. Oh, that's how you spell it. God, he's an ugly mug. I remember that when I was a little kid. Now here's what's sad. Look at him when he's younger. He's actually quite a handsome man. Then you look at him when he's older. He must have done a ton of whores and coke. Holy shit. Yeah, you look at him when he's younger. He's quite a striking. He looks a lot like, now this is going to be very obscure, Wrath of Khan. The actor, what was his name? Ricardo Montalban. He looks a lot like Ricardo Montalban. Look him up. That's quite of a dashing figure from the old. I wonder if he's still alive. Okay, Muammar Mohammed Abu Minyar Gaddafi, commonly known as Colonel Gaddafi, was a Libyan revolutionary politician and political theorist. He governed Libya as revolutionary chairman of the Libyan Arab Republic from 1969 to 1977, then as brotherly leader of the great socialist people. You always notice how socialism comes in there. You leftists, you millennials, you dipshit kids. Capitalism doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's a failed system. Let's go socialist. Nothing bad ever happened there. Became to rule under his own third international theory. Born near Sirte to an impoverished Bedouin family, doesn't come wealth. He became an Arab nationalist while at school in Sabha. It's kind of interesting how everyone has to find a religion. You always got to find a religion. Later enrolling in the Royal Military Academy in Benghazi. Within the military, he founded a revolutionary cell which deposed the Western-backed Senussi monarchy of Idris in a 1969 coup. Having taken power, Gaddafi converted Libya into a republic governed by his revolutionary command council. Alright, so again, we kind of face some of the same problems that the Clarey test is not universally applicable to different cultures. Having taken power, by ruling decree, he ejected both the Italian population and Western military bases from Libya while strengthening ties to Arab nationalist governments, particularly in Nasir. And unsuccessfully advocating pan-Arab political union. Yeah, it's because you guys all hate each other over there. Islamic modernist, he introduced Sharia as the basis of the legal system and promoted Islamic socialism. Yay! Yay! He nationalized the oil industry, and that's why Libya is the economic powerhouse it is today. And used the increasing state revenues to bolster the military, fund foreign revolutionaries, and implement social programs emphasizing house building, healthcare, and education projects. In 1973, he initiated a popular revolution with the formation of the General People's Committee, purported to be a system of direct democracy, but retained personal control over major decisions. He outlined his third international theory that year, publishing the ideas in the Green Book. All right. So, he didn't come from money. Does he have real-world working experience? I'm going to give anyone who joins the military, I'm going to, you could say it's a Banana Republic military, but he joined the academy. So I'm going to say he did have some real-world working experience. But then he fucks it up. I don't know if it's what it is. This isn't specific to Muslims or Arabs. Because it's, I don't know what you read through or listen to any of the many history podcasts out there. Russian Rulers History Podcast, the History of Rome Podcast, the Byzantium Empire, tons of podcasts. Everybody wants to go and bump off the guy above them. The king, the monarch, the queen, whoever, the prime minister, whatever. It's all this climb to power And what I'm no historian, but what rookie observations I've had of it is you waste your time and your life on the planet clawing to get, not to mention people are dying. That's a very high risk, high death rate pursuit you're pursuing there. And let's say you get the kingdom and you become that, well, there's a good chance somebody else is trying to gun for you and you're dead now too. Perfect example in a modern day application to show you why I'm kind of questioning this. Vladimir Putin, who I find incredibly fascinating, maybe not as an individual man, although that too, but why? The dude has billions of dollars. Why are you still president? Like, what is it about power or being in control or being, having a title? Dude, if I had that money, I'd be like, fuck you, I'm fishing. These people don't go for a happy life. They gotta be at the top for some reason. And it goes beyond survival. I think it's psychological. But like I said, across all cultures, Asian, Middle Eastern, white, European, they're always trying to bump each other off to get to this thing, and then it's almost like the chalice from the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade causes death. And I would just quit. Again, or Pablo Escobar, dude, that guy, he could have said, look, I'll quit. You just leave me alone, and I'm gonna live the remainder of my life with my billions. What happened to Pablo Escobar? Let's see what happened. I bet you he died too at a gun battle. Pablo Escobar, is he still alive? Pablo Escobar, he died. Now, how old was he? I think we even did a Clarey test on 50. He died at 41. Is he that young? Turning over 21.9 billion. What if he just stopped at 39 and only had 19 billion dollars? And so now it's kind of the same thing with Muammar. I don't know if it's because he came from poverty and then he joined the military. Now we got to take over the government. And maybe you were influenced by Nasir, but wouldn't it just be happy to be, have a couple sheep and goats and herd a little bit and get a little well and just have a nice wife and some kids? Wouldn't that be nicer? No, apparently not. So he took over, became a dictator. 4 decades. Now, how did he die? The Arab Spring protests against widespread corruption and unemployment broke out in eastern Libya. Because remember, socialism works. The situation descended into civil war in which NATO intervened militarily on the side of the anti-Gaddafist National Traditional Council. The government was overthrown and Gaddafi retreated to Sirte, his hometown, only to be captured and killed by NTC militants. He got killed. He got bumped off. Now, he made it a lot longer than, what's his name? Pablo Escobar. And God almighty, the booze and whores didn't treat his face. I mean, really, this is shocking, because I always saw Muammar Gaddafi back in the Reagan days when we bombed Tripoli. Was it Tripoli? I think it was. He was just this ugly wreck. But look at him when he's younger. Man, that just power corrupts physically, too. He looks like, before he died, he looked like the guy from the Rolling Stones that magically never dies. Be captured, killed. Education. Let's go to his education. Gaddafi's was religious in nature, imparted by a local Islamic teacher. See if he even bothered going to college. Or his father worked as a caretaker for tribal around Muammar at secondary school, something neither parent had done. He was popular. Most notably. Alright, and he already wanted to go and was in the Libyan army, so he gets, okay, so came from poverty, doesn't get a point there, that's good. Has real world working experience, joined the military very young, but then what's his name, he said he had to go and throw a coup and become a fucking crusader. And then he no, he gets it too, just like Saddam. Should he have become? No, he shouldn't have. He shouldn't run for office. He didn't run. He just took it. And would I want to have a beer with him? Actually, no, because at least Saddam. And I know this sounds petty, but Saddam didn't hit the booze and the drugs and go to pot. I mean, Saddam, even in his warped mind, I mean, there was an element of principle, I guess, with Saddam. This guy just looked like he became a North Korean dictator and you know, wearing the fucking robes and all that other shit and pounded down the hedonism. And like, I'm all for hedonism, but I mean, what did I say? Yeah, you were born poor, you had this real interesting life for like maybe the first quarter of your life, and now you're just a power-hungry guy, and now you're drinking cognac and living off the people, and you implemented socialism. Well, big fucking intellectual idea there. So, yeah, now getting back to your, I don't know if, even though they didn't really necessarily request it, I don't know if the United States, if it was, you know, oh yeah, that's why North Korea has nuclear weapons, because we could have invaded North Korea anytime beforehand, before they got nuclear weapons, and we didn't. I know everyone thinks the United States just looks for an excuse to invade people. We don't. Because, I mean, my God, we have a great reason to invade North Korea. You're fucking up your people. We had any morality about us. Now it's a moot point because they do have some elements of nuclear weapons. But yeah, so the solid twos on both of them. They both came from poverty. But then there's something about that culture, man. Something about like, we gotta go and get command and control, and we gotta rule, and then you're corrupt. And then I'm very unimpressed. So that's it. All right, that's it. You guys got questions? Camp's got answers over at assholeconsulting.com. I got more videos to do. I just want to not work. I just want to go back to bed, but I can't fall asleep because once you wake up, you can't go to sleep because that's what happens when you get old. Remember that when you were young? I want to go back to sleep. Now it's like, oh shit, I'm up. Oh crap, I can't go back to sleep. And you're in a haze for the next 2 hours. Thank God for my coffee mug. All right, we'll see you guys later. Toodles.